peace, love, light, and healing, peace, love, light, and healing, peace to the gods, peace to the earth. Y'all climb on in. Let me see if I can actually get this situated. Y'all climb on in the building. Peace, family, peace, guys and goddesses. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Peace. Y'all climb on in. Y'all climb on in. So look, y'all see what this is talking about. Karma. Whenever you violate natural order, it violates you. You gotta pay for it. And that's what we going through. And I'm in here in LA. We got a dope healing case that we finna attack out here, and get some things healed. But I'll be checking the emails and the wives be checking the emails, and it's an email on here I wanna read. I really wanna read to y'all and just show y'all how to get rid of this stuff. But I wanna show you how, when you violate nature, y'all, when nature is violated, it will violate you. We really need to start understanding chemistry, and we really need to start understanding, overstanding, and understanding acid and base, or what they call acid and alkaline. When you on the acidic side, it will always burn you. I mean, always. And that's what we're here to do. We just here to show you how to turn these things around. So y'all climb on in. We're going to talk about it. I mean, when you read stuff like this, it does something to me. And we're going to help her out. We're going to make sure we help her out. And we're gonna help her out good. We're gonna help her out a lot. But it's so much going on with one particular cases, and it seems like that these type of cases come to us a lot now. It usually be HIV, HSV, diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, and they just one or two diseases. When you start getting in particular cases, when you start seeing, hundreds of diseases, 50 diseases, so-called diseases, because I don't believe in diseases, but for y'all to really conceptualize and identify with it, I'm going to say diseases. When you start reading cases that have more than 10 diseases in one case, this shows you that nature was constantly being violated, and there was never a correction. There was never a atonement. There was never a repentance. There was never a sacrifice for all of the violations that was going on. And that's why it behooves us to start making sure we getting into our ritualistic practices. And one of your very predominant, powerful ritualistic practices is detoxification. We need to be detoxing so much, y'all, because we have violated nature so much. And that detoxification period is a repentance period, and we need to start looking at it like that from a spiritual aspect. That way we can truly heal our spiritual bodies, along with our physical bodies while we healing. You see that? So detoxification is another form of repentance. It's another form of turning back and returning back to the source, returning back to Yahweh. And you see, the further and further you get away from Yahweh, the further and further you get away from nature, the more violation come, the more your body have to pay for it. Because when you dealing with nature, there's always two polar opposites of things: positive, negative. You see that you got healing, then you got disease, you got life, you got death, you got left, you got right, you got up, you got down. It's all about the balance. So whenever you violate and you do too much of the other, then you always get attacked by the other side. You see what I'm saying? And I'm finna show y'all this. And it's crazy when you read this stuff, because these things can be prevented, but there's nobody teaching nobody how to prevent these things, nor how to cleanse the body of it. And that's the whole point of Yaqui Institute, the whole point of the ILO, this schooling and everything we doing. So check this out, y'all. It says, peace and blessings, Kawhi. I'm sorry. So she's writing this to one of my wives, Kawhi. It says, sorry, I am just now sending my information and I was not feeling good. That would die. It says, and now showing you that she identified with herself as being a Hebrew Israelite too, because she's saying Thawadah or Todah, which means thank you. It says, I'm deciding to send you my information via texting. It says, I had to really contemplate on how to word this concerning I have a lot going on and have heard you over the phone, and you wanted to run this by Yaqui. So it's so much going on in this particular case that, the wife had to come to me for I can, give my approval on what we're going to do as far as healing her. It should never get this far, y'all. As soon as you start seeing things that is wrong with your body, you're supposed to immediately start doing something about it. Like soon as you have a negative thought, you're supposed to immediately, redirect that negative energy and turn it into positivity. That's the whole point of being an alchemist. Literally being a true alchemist is to take dark matter or to take negative matter or to take negative situations and make it work for the greater good of you, your family, and then the overall humanity. You see what I'm saying? So the moment that you start feeling aches and pains and you start feeling burning, that's immediate repentance or immediate detoxification. Because if you keep building up all that karmatic experience on top of karma and on top of karma, we see that the scripture tell you whatever a man soweth, he shall reap. So now your harvest is going to be pains, it's going to be ache, it's going to be acid, it's going to be disease, it's going to be acidosis, it's going to be swelling. These things are going to turn into death because you never repented and turned back and started detoxifying the body. You see what I'm saying? Detoxification is the key to cellular regeneration. There is no other way for cellular regeneration but through herbal detoxification or fruitarian detoxification. You see what I'm saying? There is no other way unless you're very, very strong in your spiritual, etherical, biospirit, and you know how to heal with hands and stuff like that through Reiki healing, the priestly hands, the Kohanim, Raphaim healing and stuff like that. Other than that, you're going to have to go back to the basics, but don't nobody know how to go back to the basics because we haven't been taught so. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. I'm finna show y'all how to detox. I'm finna show y'all all of this. Now check this out, y'all. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna read it all the way through. Then we're gonna break it down. It says, "Peace and blessings, Kawhi. Sorry, I'm just now sending my information. I was not feeling good. Thou would die. I'm deciding to send my information via text, and I had to really contemplate how to word this, considering I have a lot going on, as you heard over the phone, and I wanted to run it by Yaki. To start, I was born prematurely by 2 months." All right, so that's the first thing. She was born prematurely by 2 months. It says, "have had several kidney infections as a 2-year-old." So 2-year-old, first born premature, then several kidney infections by the age of 2. As far as back I can remember, and was hospitalized for 2 weeks on antibiotics then. So 2 years old on antibiotics. Now, y'all know how I feel about antibiotics, but we're going to go back through and break this down. Now, check how when it starts off and you constantly keep violating nature, how these things build up. Now, check this out. Was depressed also. Then I had several ear and eye and throat infections, well as endometriosis, cysts, and ovaries. It says two abdominal surgeries, tonsillectomy, so had the tonsil removed, 2 cyst removals, one on the wrist and one on the neck. It says, and IV3. It says, I have several kidney stones, one blasted, and it still remains in my kidneys. Fibromyalgia, PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress syndrome, and 2 partial hysterectomies. It says left one ovary left. It says left one ovary left on the left side. Crohn's disease, malnutrition, anemia, low blood count, swelling in the legs, and a lot of pain in my back and on the side and all over. Swelling and bedridden for 11 years or so. Have been hospitalized more than 50 times, y'all. More than 50 times. Do y'all see the constant violation of nature? And when you really don't repent and turn back from your sin, see, we all want to identify sin in a Christianity way, but we never identify with sin as violating nature, violating your food, violating the natural living order, not the diet order. You know what I'm saying? When you violating your body because you putting foreign chemistry that's not supposed to be in the body inside of the body, and then the body have to do its thing to try to get rid of it and throw you through some gnarly, wild detoxification symptoms that you have never experienced in your life, and then the doctors label these things as disease and give you medicine for your complications. Then you take the medicine and then you further going down that rabbit hole because you're violating nature again by taking chemicals that was man-made and not chemistry or chemet, which means black melanin chemical substance that was made by the creator Yahweh to truly open up the meridian pathways and to cleanse the body. So now we got all these things going on, and she have been hospitalized more than 50 times. I have had problems where I couldn't eat or drink or hold anything down or due to vomiting and diarrhea. I have had an abscess that was drained in 2015. Also, I have several fistulas. Now, a fistulas, we're going to talk about what they, I have several fistulas nouns. Rectum, vaginal, bladder, fistulas. It says that drain of blood and sometimes of fecal matter. Check this out, y'all. Because of that, I have several UTIs. Lost a lot of weight and got down to my lowest, which is 77 pounds. We finna heal you though, watch. It says I am currently 103 pounds. I also have lost teeth throughout the process. Now, currently, I have dentures. Now, her body is so acidic that her teeth is falling out of her mouth, y'all. Y'all see that? Y'all see how this is what you would call a chronic case. This is a chronic, this is a degenerative case. These are usually the cases that we come and take on because, and I'm not knocking all the healers, but other healers don't even know what to do with these cases. So usually all the herbalists that y'all be talking to, when they go through stuff like that, they hit up Yaqui. Because this stuff is what I actually, specialize in. But I wish that we wouldn't even have to specialize in stuff like that because I know for a fact that this goddess is going through some pain, y'all. She's so acidic that teeth are falling. She got a mouthful of dentures. Teeth are falling out her mouth. And she's 77 pounds. This is deep. It says I also have teeth. I also have lost teeth throughout this process. Now currently have dentures. I've tried a lot of things through this process. Almost lost my life several times. It is hard for me to eat anything. It is hard for me to eat anything. Goes straight through me. However, this means you malnutrition. However, I have the will to live. Now, this is the beautiful part about this goddess. Check out what she said. Through all the stuff she's going through, she said, however, I have the will to live. And that's what it takes to truly, truly overthrow this and to change around karma and to heal the body. She have a pure will and essence about herself where she want to stay alive. So that's all the power she need to truly heal. Now she just need the knowledge with the willing power, and this will change her whole life around. This will change her whole life around. And this show you how powerful goddesses are. Through all the things that's beating her down, trotting her down, they done took her tonsils, they done took her reproductive organs. She got acid here and there. She been having seizures, kidney stones. I mean, she is going through it. And she's saying, look, through all of this and I'm bedridden, I still got the will to live. That's deep, man. So, hey, all praises to that. I still have the will to live, love, and prosper. Let me read that again. However, I have the will to live, love, and prosper and help people like myself when I get to the place of true healing. We're going to get you to the place of true healing, and I'm going to help you out. It says, I want to share and inspire. There are a lot of people around me that suffers and go through the same thing. I want to be inspiring to others because a lot of people have been watching me in my journey. Again, sister and brother, I've been trying to, but just can't seem to get a full grip. Which I guess that's supposed to be with the guidance and prayers and power and protection from the Most High Elohim, God of the universe, and in the under guidance of Yaqui and his wives, I know that I will be okay. Thawadah for listening, your sister, and then she said her name, and I'm not going to mention her name. All praises. You are strong. First off, before I even tell you how to get rid of this stuff, you are a strong individual. You are a strong goddess. I don't even want to localize you to a certain gender because how you speaking beyond gender. You speaking from that spiritual side of you. You are very, very, very strong. Straight up. Now, let's go back over this and let's talk about how to get rid of this. But this shows you that we cannot keep violating nature because the karmatic experience from that will hurt you in the long run. So now it's time to change back the things you're doing. So peace and blessings, Kawhi. Sorry. Let's get straight to it. Okay, it says contemplate on the words. It says to start off, I was prematurely born by 2 months. So we see the first issue. The first issue is that the embryo did not even get to grow to a full fetus, and that fetus did not get to grow to a full infant because she was prematurely born. She was out of the womb early. The last things that really or born is your lungs, and your lungs is what brings in your air, your oxygen, your vitality. That's what converts your nitrogen over into certain carbon constituents and everything. So we already see that these things is happening because of the mother and the father. So we know that the mother gives you your skin. We know that the mother gives you your lymphatic system. Only thing that truly really comes from the father will be the nervous system. Everything else potentially come from the mother. So we got to start looking into the mother and the genetic disposition and the cosmic arrangement of her cells of her mother. Most likely, if she was born this acidic and the acidic process was inside of that uterine wall, inside of that placenta so much that the baby literally had to eject itself. And that's where you get premature birthing from. It's when the wound is so acidic that the baby cannot stay in there any longer. Otherwise, it would die of all the acidic waste that's being built up inside of the womb canal, or what we're going to call the matrix. So the premature birthing is the baby leaving quickly for it won't have to die. And the only reason why a baby will leave that quickly is we can call it as many different things as we want, but when you check the wound of a woman associated with premature births, it is always because of acids is involved. So we see that right now that the mama was truly acidic. It says have had several kidney infections as of 2 years old. So now we see that the baby only 2. You just really now start formalizing words and everything else when you 2, and you show not choosing your diet. So that means not only was she born prematurely, but her mother that had the acidic environment and stomach was full of acidosis and acids didn't change the environment after she had the baby. So those same acidosis foods she was probably given to the baby through the breast, through suckling, or she didn't breastfeed at all, which she probably didn't because she's going through all these things. And usually when you breastfeed, that's where a lot of the macrophages and things like that comes out. Now, I didn't know if this birth was vaginal or, this birth had to actually come through the stomach and they had to cut her open. And that'll have a lot to do with it too, because when the baby passes through the vaginal canal on the way out from the uterine and that cervix open up, the reason why the anus of a woman is so close to the vagina, and the reason why a woman poops 99% of the time when she's having a baby is for that baby mouth can be open on the way through the vagina canal to actually get in some of that fecal matter inside of the mouth. And that is the first lining of the digestive tract of a infant when it's coming out. That's his first bacterium before the breast milk even get into the mouth. Before the breast milk, because the breast produces a lot of macrophages and a lot of good lymphatics too, that's going to help, line the whole entire mucosa membrane, or what we're going to call the outer tube, which is from the gut all the way to the anus of the baby. And that's and this is before the breast. That is by just pushing that baby through the birth canal. And it shows you that babies that haven't been, pushed through the birth canal and had to go through other means by way of entering into this world, they're more prone to sickness and diseases because they microbiota off, because the first signs of microbiota is when the baby is going through the birth canal with that mouth open and it's sucking in all that fecal matter. That's the reason why the anus and the vagina is like this. And then you got that little fixture layer of skin that separate the anus and the vagina. And the reason why is because that baby is gulping in all of that fecal matter and all of that good bacteria that's going to line the digestional tract, which is from the teeth all the way down to the anus of the baby. Then the baby is birthed forth, and then the baby finds the nipple, and then that's where the macrophages come from, and all of the T cells and B cells from the mother that's inside of the milk ducts. So you see that birthing right and not letting them cut on you and bring the baby out that way, and actually pushing that baby, through your vagina canal, and then immediately latching that baby on the breast is the baby's first initial signs of defense. This is what boosts the so-called lymphatic defense, the so-called immunological system of the baby, or what we're going to correctly call the lymphatic defense system. And I don't think she went through that. She couldn't have, because we see the following illnesses that comes upon her when she's 2. We see that she got kidney infections, several of them at the age of 2, showing you that from them 2 years, not only being pushed out wrong or not being pushed out at all, we see that the microbiota is actually bad inside the body. And the only time you see an overpopulation of a lot of bacteria inside of the body is when you have an overpopulation of acids. Bacteria was created for one reason and one reason only. And what I'm talking about is eukaryotic bacteria. I'm not talking about prokaryotic bacteria, because we all have eukaryotic bacteria within inside of us. And these eukaryotic bacteria is created for one reason and one reason only, and that's to eat acids. So whenever you have a bacterial infection, the bacteria being overpopulated in the system, is not the disease. It is not the cause. That is the byproduct. That is the effect. And what is the effect? That is the effect of acidosis being present in the body. So when you have an overpopulation of acids from an acidic lifestyle, that's when you start seeing bacterial infections everywhere. Why get rid of the bacteria though? The bacteria is there to actually eat the acids. So then you get on antibiotics, and the antibiotics kills the bacteria, but you never did nothing with the acids. So now the acids are staying, prevalent in the body, and you never did anything to get rid of the acids, but you got rid of the bacteria. So the acids just going to keep burning and burning and burning more. So then you see a subacute disease, which means it's minor, turn into an acute disease. Then you keep taking antibiotics, then the acute disease turn into a subchronic disease. Then that subchronic disease turn into a chronic disease. Then that chronic disease turn into a degenerative disease. Now that degeneration of the cells actually causes cellular mitosis and cellular apoptosis. If you look at the root word to apocalyptic, that's talking about when things die. So now the cells becomes dead because mucus come in and suffocate the cells of all of its oxygen, and now the cell is dead. But you had 6 stages to reverse your karma. You had 6 times to repent before it even came into the chronic stage, but we are not taught these stages in life when it comes to healing the physical and the mental and spiritual and the emotion, energy, emotional body. So we just always end up with these degenerative diseases, and then we die of the treatment of these degenerative diseases, or these degenerative diseases causes the lymphatic system to completely collapse, and then this is called AIDS. All diseases that goes unhealed ends at AIDS, and all AIDS is when the lymphatic defense system is collapsed and cannot no longer perform its duties and jobs as playing the T cell role, which is the thymus cell role, the B cell roles, which is the bone marrow roles, the macrophages that hides inside of the lymph nodes that eat acidosis and break down these acids to take it to the urethra and process it and filtrate it through the kidneys, and all the other defense systems that the lymphatic system provides. So all diseases that goes I hate to say the word treated, because we don't treat shit around here, we heal. That goes unhealed always end in AIDS. And we see that she 2 years old. So between the ages of her birth and being 2, this means she had to be in an acidic environment, and her mother never changed the diet ever. Because now we see she's only 2 with all of these kidney infections. Now, usually when they say a kidney infection, they mean the acids and bacteria is high in the kidneys. Now, why is bacteria high in the kidneys and messing with the blood and messing with the lymph filtration? That's because acids is high in the kidneys. Wherever you find acidosis, you're going to find bacteria. And if you don't start bacteria managing, meaning that bacteria is not eating all those acids because you still bringing in these chromatic acids experiences inside of your body, then you're going to see these bacteria or the microbiota starts to form and get bigger and bigger. And when they get real big, we call these parasites. These things come from within inside the body. They do not come from outside the body. Now, you do get some parasites from walking on concrete barefooted. You do get it from jumping in certain type of lakes and pools and ponds and stuff. You can get them that way. But 98% of your parasites are born within inside of your body, and they're grown by the microbiota inside of the body. That's how you, like I was teaching y'all about roadkill. When you see roadkill and you start seeing flies and maggots and shit grow on the roadkill, didn't no maggot travel that far. Didn't no fly travel that far. These things are growing from within inside of the roadkill or the dead decaying carcass that's on the side of the road. That is the microbiota changing to break down and decompose the body. And some of those changes of the microbiota of the bacteria turn into maggots, flies, and parasites. Same thing if you look at fruit flies at your house. Your windows closed, the refrigerator closed, your door closed. How in the hell, or you get nets and fruit flies and shit on all of your fruit? These things are coming from within inside of the decomposing fruit, because living things create more living things, because the body is created with 150 trillion cells, and what you don't know is that 100 trillion of them cells are not your cells. These cells belong to the microbiota, or what you would call bacteria. You are a walking specimens of trillions of communities of bacteria. Y'all just gonna have to come to grasp to realize that you are not who you really think you are, and you are literally a miniature universe, and you have populations of races and peoples that make up your cells. These cells then make up certain organs. These organs organs then make up certain systems, and then that systems make you a full-grown human being. But notice what made up the cell. Bacteria, prokaryotic cells, prokaryotes, eukaryotic cells. You're a prokaryotic cell. Every other nation is eukaryotic cells. But you possess eukaryotic cells because you breathe them in through the atmosphere. But your original creation is a prokaryotic cell, a single-cell organism that don't even come from Earth, that come from the cosmos. So you a damn bacteria yourself. We are the extraterrestrial beings, but we doing all these planetary human things, and that's why we sick, because we're violating nature. We're violating our genetic disposition. We're violating our cosmic arrangement. We're eating a diet that's for other people and not eating a liver that was created for us. And this is what bringing acids into our bodies, and it's burning our bodies up and ripping our bodies apart and causing this mucosa membrane response. And this mucus is building up and depriving our cells of oxygen. We got acid on our nervous system, acid in our organs, acid in our blood, acids, when we are a true alkaline people. You see that? See, the body is created alkaline, but its function is acidic. See that? We are bringing in too many acids, and now you got problems like this. All right, so we see the kidney. So the first thing is the premature. All right, now once we see that she was born premature, she got several kidneys infection. Now the reason why this is very important, because the kidneys is the only way to truly heal the body, unless you're gonna be on some last airbender shit like I be on. And you know, that's next level healing, and that's what you would call epigenetics. But the kidneys is your main way of opening up for kidney filtration, because the kidneys is what's in control of filtrating the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the sewage system of the body. The body is made of three functions. You have lymph, you have blood, and then you have the nerves. We got to remember that the lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body. The blood is what feeds the cells of the body all its phytonutrients. And then you have the nervous system, and that commands the cells of the body. Now you have three nervous systems. You have the central nervous system, that is the command center of the brain. You have the cardiovascular nervous system, that is the heart, which is way bigger and holds a lot of electrical magnetic fields, way more than your brain itself, y'all. I mean, the heart is very, very powerful, and that's the reason why we need to be working on opening up our heart chakra, because that is your main constituents to healing. But a lot of us got evil hearts and want to heal from diseases, when your evil heart is what caused the disease in the first place. And Goddess, I'm not saying that you have an evil heart, but I am saying that you are violating nature, and I'm glad that you're ready to stop violating nature and repent. That way you can get your healing back, and you can bring back homeostasis to your body. So you got the central nervous system in the brain. You got the cardiovascular system, which is a second, well, what I'm going to call the second brain. This is the third brain. The heart is the second brain. And when your heart holds most of your memories. And then you have the first brain, or what we're going to call the gut. And they call this the intrinsic nervous system, or the autonomic nervous system. And this controls the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Notice this is auto. These are things that runs on autopilot. Now, what runs on autopilot? Kidney filtration. You don't have to sit back and focus on you filtrating. You don't got to think about that. Digestive system. You don't have to worry about when you eat whether your food gonna break down or not. That's supposed to happen automatically. You see that eye twitching? You don't got to worry about your eye twitching and closing. If something get in it, that runs on automatically. You getting up and going to the bathroom and have to pee because you are converting all this urea protein over into urine. You don't have to do that. That runs on automatic. Me breathing right now, how I'm breathing just without a breeze, that is automatic. That runs by the parasympathetic, sympathetic, autonomic nervous system, which is controlled by the gut. And guess what's attached to the gut? Something called the adrenal glands. You see that metabolizing your sugar, that runs automatically, unless you're a diabetic and have diabetes. Breaking down your food, which is by the pancreatic enzymes, that runs automatically. You don't have to sit there and tell the pancreas, hey pancreas, break down this food so I can shit it out. That runs automatically. All this is ran by the intrinsic nervous system. And we see in her particular case that all three of her nervous system, or all three of her brains, have been compromised. Now, why are they compromised? They're compromised because she is on the acidic side of nature, meaning she is violating natural law. And when you violate natural law, the law violates you. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on. All right. Ooh, this is some deep stuff. All right, so kidney. So first thing we have to do, she had weak kidneys since she was little. We're going to have to focus on the kidneys. And in order to focus on the kidneys, we have to focus on the adrenal glands, because the adrenal glands is what sits on top of the kidneys, right? And the adrenal glands act as the filtering pump for the kidneys. The kidneys is the filtration system, but the pump that you plug into the wall, that is the adrenals. So we got to get the adrenals up. So we already know off back that you're going to need the brain and nerve. You're going to need brain and nerve, and I got this here too for our healing. our healing case that we got out of here. We got some brain and nerve. I don't know where it's at. But you're going to need the brain and nerve. You're going to need brain and nerve all day, every day. And what the brain and nerve is going to do, the brain and nerve have licorice root in there. It got wild yam root inside of there. It got cordycorpse mushrooms inside of there. Reishi mushrooms inside of there. We got so many. We got cleaver's leaf inside of there. So what this is going to do is going to clean out the adrenal glands and bring the adrenals up. And the reason why we have to bring the adrenals up, because your kidneys is not going to be filtrating, and you ain't going to be able to get rid of infection or the acids without the adrenal glands being online, because the adrenals is your autonomic nervous system, and the adrenal glands produces something called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a hormone that's produced, and a neurotransmitter, by the way, that's produced by the adrenal glands to actually constrict and dilate the lymphatic vessels. So, you know, say you got a lymphatic vessel. The lymphatic vessel is just like this. It's just still. It don't move on its own. It moves only with movement and by the adrenal glands producing acetylcholine. So if you moving and you doing rebounding and you doing walking, but you're bedridden, so you can't even do that. So you have to rely on the adrenal glands to open up the lymphatic vessels. The adrenal glands produces the acetylcholine. The acetylcholine goes to the kidneys. The kidneys put it inside the bloodstream. It goes throughout the whole body. And then what happens is the lymphatic system vessels pick it up by way of lymph nodes and by way of organ, because blood and lymph meet at certain organs. Like, for instance, the thymus gland is where blood and lymph meets. You see that? The kidneys is where blood and lymph meet. The adrenal glands is where blood and lymph meet. The spleen is where blood and lymph meet. You see that everything I'm talking about is lymphatic associated organs, but bloods go through them, because blood have to feed these different cells that makes up these lymphatic tissues. And that's why you got GALT, which stands for gut associated lymphatic tissues. You saying you got brain associated lymphatic tissues, or what they call the glymphatic system. I know these terminologies is throwing y'all off, but you have to know that the blood feeds the body, the lymphatic system is what cleanses the body, and then the nervous system actually, you know, commands the body. So we always have to go after them three things to heal and regenerate any disease. So we have to go after the adrenal glands and get the adrenal glands back online, get them adrenal glands cleansed out of all that mucus buildup. That way the adrenal glands can actually go through its steroid utilization process properly. It can go through its sugar metabolitic process properly. It can actually go through its melanin neurotransmitter, you know, messenger transport properly, and all of that, because that's what you need to truly heal the body. So now we got the adrenal glands back online and you're producing acetylcholine. Now the melanin neurotransmitters can holler at the lymph vessels and tell them to open up and close. Now when you open up and close on fluids, it starts to move the fluids. So now we got lymphatic movement. See, now you're no longer lymphatic stagnant. Right now, your lymphatic system is stagnated. And that's the reason why the acids is blowing back and burning you like crazy, because these acids don't have a pathway of elimination. So it's starting to form a pathway of elimination. This is where you get cysts from, tumors from, endometriosis. You got skin that's supposed to be growing in the uterine wall, growing outside the uterus, on the fallopian tubes, on the ovaries. You start getting cysts, and I see that you said you had to get cysts removed from your wrist. Why is your body localizing itself like that and forming pockets of lymph and pockets of tissue? That's because it's trying to push itself outside of the body, because the regular pathway that it takes to eliminate is closed up, because you backed up interstitially, because your kidneys are compromised and your adrenals are compromised. And if your kidneys and your adrenals are backed up, then it's going to back up to your sewage system or your septic system, and that's what we call the lymphatic system and the lymph nodes and the lymph vessels. And then you have something called interstitial fluids that wraps the cells. Imagine acids, these fluids of rivers that your cells sit on. Imagine a river just being hot at boiling temperatures. Every cell that's sitting on that river of fluid, or what they call interstitial fluid, is going to be burning the hell out of the cells. And then you get things like this. So we got to get the adrenals back online, and we got to get the kidneys open, because the kidneys are responsible for filtrating all the metabolitic waste that the cells produce, right? And then it says, as far as background, I was hospitalized for 2 weeks on antibiotics then. Now we have to replace all of the bifidobacterium bacteria and all the lactobacillus bacteria that was already in the gut lining that you was supposed to get when you was being pushed through your mother's birth canal by sucking in all that fecal matter to line your digestional tract, or that you got from sucking on that tit, because the tit is where all of the macrophages and everything that you need to build true lymphatic defenses. It comes from the breast, and it comes from you being pushed through that canal. Most likely these things didn't happen with you, and they gave you all these antibiotics because the reason why you was bacterial infected in the first place is because acids was present when you was born and even before you was born. So we got to replace all the bacteria, because the antibiotics killed. Anti means against, bio means life. Bacteria is a living organism. So if you're taking antibiotics, that means it's something that's going to kill living bacterial organisms. These bacterial organisms, you can't do nothing without bacterial organisms. You would die without them. That's what breaks down your food and bring your foods into the blood capillaries to take it for transportation, to give it to all the cells. You see that? That's how you poop. It actually breaks down your food for digestion. That's what's going throughout the bloodstream along with neurotransmitters to send messages to the brain and connect all three brains together. I mean, bacteria is what protects your skin layer. I mean, without bacteria, it's impossible for you to live, and it makes up 100 trillion cells out of 150 trillion cells to make up your body. So it don't make no sense that they're putting things in your body to kill what makes up your body, letting you know that they either don't know what they're doing or they do know what they're doing, but they have a depopulation control agenda that they're trying to push on the people. So you're going to need 3 bitters all day. And the reason why I'm saying 3 bitters is because my 3 bitters is what's going to replace all of the good bacteria. I hate saying the word good bacteria because there's no such thing as bad bacteria. Bacteria just changes its roles as you violate nature or as you assist and agree with nature. If you violate nature, then bacteria are going to look ugly to you. If you agreeing and you assisting nature, then bacteria is going to work out for the greater good. That bacteria is going to be a probiotic. You see that? But if you're doing bad things, the bacteria are going to turn into parasites, and them parasites is going to be antibiotic. They're going to start chewing on your cells, waging themselves into your organs and causing all types of mishaps. If that bacteria that grew from that microbiota work its way up to the thymus gland, that's HIV. If it burrows itself into that pancreas, that's diabetes mellitus. That's the hyperglycemia, diabetes 1, diabetes 2. If that deal go into the lymph nodes, they're going to call that lymphoma. You know, where these things are just breaking down the lymph nodes. Anywhere it go, if it goes to the brain, that's where you get that's where you get Alzheimer's disease. I mean, you got dementia. I mean, all types of diseases is coming from the parasites that are being birthed by our own cells because we are not assisting or being in alignment or being in that balance of ma'at with nature. Look, all of these are consequences of violating nature, y'all. Eating meat when you ain't supposed to be eating meat. Drinking alcohol, burning your liver and your kidneys when you ain't supposed to be drinking all these gnarly things. Eating on all these cheese and these animal byproducts. And cheese is the number 1 cause of acidosis, y'all. And it's the number 1 cause of asthma and COPD. You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff is coming from you violating nature and doing shit that you wasn't created to do. Your whole entire anatomy and physiology shows you that you're not a carnivore. You're not made to eat meat. And guess what? I ain't never in my life seen a lion eat grass. It eat meat and only meat. I don't care if it's sick. Do you know a lion will starve itself and die before it eat grass if it can't find anything to hunt? I've never in my life seen a lion. I studied this, y'all. Think I'm lying? Go look it up. You don't see true carnivores eating herbs and fruits. They never eat that. They will die before they eat that. That's why you see in the jungle where lions be real skinny. You can see their rib cage. That's because they had a lot of unsuccessful hunting trips. They not finna settle with grass and the green plains that grows amongst Africa, the berries that grows from the African trees, because they physiological makeup wasn't made to eat that shit. Just like your physiological makeup wasn't made to eat meat. That's their food. That's not your food. You are a frugivore, and then you are herbivore when you're sick. Other than that, you eat fruits. Your physiological makeup shows that. You don't have canines that's this long. You don't have claws to rip and tear flesh and to tear through fur. You don't have big stomachs with short digestive tracts. You don't go through a digestive process of putrefaction. You go through a digestive process called fermentation. Well, guess what fermentates? It's not meat that fermentates. That is fruits and vegetables that go through a fermentation process. And this is called slow digestion. The reason why it's called slow digestion, for you can get all the phytonutrients and healing constituents and healing modalities up out of the food, like your bioflavonoids, your biophotons, your curcumin, and all these other types of healing constituents that you need to bring the cells ATP, adenosine triphosphate, adenosine monophosphate, adenosine diphosphate, for the cells can get high yielding fuel, for you can have energy and vitality for you to live your everyday life. But you violating nature, eating shit that you ain't supposed to be eating. And now we got all these diseases. You see that? So now, kidneys. We got to cleanse the kidneys. You got to get the kidneys cleansed. This is my kidney cleanser. It's called the Intercellular Cleanse. I got this in capsules. I got it in powder. And also my 3 bitters are very, very good for the kidney. And we sell something called the Kidney and Adrenal Kit. But if you want your own herbs, always off back, use hydrangea root. Hydrangea root is what's going to break up the stones. Hydrangea root is going to, decalcify all the stones and things that's built up in the kidneys. And then you're going to use some parsley leaf. Make sure you get some good chlorophyll looking parsley leaf that look green as the forest of the plains of Africa. That's going to be very good to open up the kidneys. Juniper berries, these are berries, and this berry family don't only oxygenate the kidneys and oxygenate the blood, it's an oxygenator and it's full of antioxidants, but these things will thin out the blood and cleanse the kidneys out. You got cleaver's leaf that's going to pull and tug away at the lymphatics associated tissues inside the kidneys, and that's going to start cleansing the kidneys out. So you got cleaver's leaf, you got juniper berry, you got parsley leaf, you got hydrangea, and then you can't forget red clover and burdock root and dandelion root, because these things are going to help cleanse the kidneys, and they're going to tone and strengthen the kidneys. These are what you call cellular proliferators, and that's what these type of herbs are. These are called tonic herbs, because these don't only cleanse, but they rebuild and they strengthen and they tonify. And that's what's going to really, really clean out the kidney. So you got the herbs for the adrenals. Now you got the herbs from the kidneys. If you're not a good herbalist and you're not a good mixologist and you don't know the ratios and you don't know where to get strong, potent herbs from, get them from me. If not, get them from your own herbalist. I'm not here for the money. I'm here to show you how to heal your body. But if you want to get them from me, we got the 3 bitters, and I have my kidney and adrenal kit or the intercellular cleanse. That's what's going to clean your kidneys out and get your adrenals back online. Right? But we're going to have to systematically cleanse her, though, because you got a lot of things going on. So I'm going to recommend you get my geogenetic therapeutic package, but we're going to go through this whole particular case before I can show you why. You see what I'm saying? All right. So we just got over that part. Now, the antibiotics, we got over that part. I told you take my three bitters, especially bitter 1. That's going to replace the body back with all the good, biotics that you need, or the good bacteria that you need, whether it's prokaryotic or eukaryotic. That's going to replace the body with all of that. It says, and she was depressed. Of course you're depressed. You got parasites living within inside of your body, and you're acidic and you're sick all the time. That's going to automatically have an emotional effect. Emotion means energy in motion. That's going to have a low energy that comes with that. Every disease have an emotional component. Every disease. You cannot show me one disease that don't start off with energy that's in motion and trickles down to this physical world and actually causes this so-called mental disease to physically manifest in your body. You notice people with liver problems, they're associated with anger. Cancer is associated with anger. STDs is associated with lack of patience. You want to hump everybody. You don't want to wait and get to know the person. And before that, now they done gave you accumulating of diseases. You see that? A lack of love and a lack of confidence is what weakens the pancreas and gives you diabetes. And that's why love is associated with sugar. And the reason why sugar is so much in your diet, because you're trying to fill a void of love in the black community, or whether you black or white, inside the community. So you start eating all these high fructose corn syrup and all these processed white sugars. And now the glycogen is too high inside of the body and your insulin is not producing no more. So the pancreas got diabetes. Plus you got that Fasciolopsis buski hookworm inside the pancreas. And that's the reason why, you call your significant other sugar. You call them honey bun. Whenever you want to reward them on Valentine's Day, you give them chocolate covered strawberries, which is sugar. You see that? You addicted to nicotine. Nicotine is nothing but sugar, synthetic sugar at that. Then they put apple bomb synthetic sugar in your cigarettes. Then you're an alcoholic. You're addicted to fermented sugar. You see that? And then a lot of y'all love y'all carbohydrates. Y'all want fries with every fucking thing y'all eat. That's sugar, carbohydrates. So, everything is sugar. When you're a child, to be rewarded, if you do good, your parents or your teacher give you sugar and then pat you on the back. Good job. So we have replaced love with sugar. So if you have sugar problems, or what they call diabetes, or a compromised weak pancreas, which is associated with sugar and insulin production, then that means you lack confidence and you lack love within yourself. And you need love to be validated. That way you don't have diabetes. Every disease that you have is associated with an emotion. And one of the emotions, I can tell you the disease. Lack of confidence, diabetes. Lack of love, diabetes. Anger, cancer. Liver problems, fear. It's always wound up in the kidneys and the adrenals. And that's why when you're in fight or flight, guess what is at work the most? The kidneys and the adrenals. The adrenals start kicking on all of their different melanin neurotransmitters to get your heart pumping, to get your blood thin, for it can start beating more. And the reason why blood is pumping more, because it needs to make it to the legs the fastest, because you finna be in fight or flight. You either finna be fighting or running. Whichever one you using the most, that's where the blood is going to be associated at. That's fight or flight is always kidneys and adrenal. The adrenals start producing a melanin neurotransmitter called adrenaline. And then that adrenaline turns into adrenochrome. And this is the fear factor or the fear chemical hormone that the elites love to drink up out of black people blood. They love drinking adrenochrome. That's why they got you constantly living in states of fear, because you're in fight or flight. And this brings everlasting life to reptilians. That's why you find in black people with organs missing, and you find in them with their eyes plucked out, with their kidneys missing, spleens missing, and stuff like that, because they like the adrenochrome that's in there, because this gives them everlasting life. You see that? So you got adrenaline producing all day because you're in fight or flight. That is that scary hormone, adrenaline. Then you have anger hormones called epinephrine and neuroepinephrine. That's when you get angry at. That's when you're ready to bang. That's why if you die and your heart stop beating right now, they give you an EpiPen. The EpiPen will start the heart back beating because that's neuroepinephrine and epinephrine. Then you have your love chemistry or your love hormone. That's what you call oxytocin. This is a binding hormone or a binding chemistry. Everything is about chemistry and associated cells, y'all. Everything. We can bring all of this down to a physiological aspect, or we can take it back up to a high, vibrant spiritual aspect. It don't matter with me because I'm going to heal on all levels. You see what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is there is no physical disease without a spiritual or mental, emotional, energy, emotional aspect at first. Because the mind created the body did not create the mind. So in order to heal the body, the mind must heal itself first, or you have to heal them simultaneously. Just saying. I know that was a lot. Y'all. All right, hospitalized, antibiotics. So 3 bitters for the antibiotics. The depression, you need to get out in the sun. The sun to start converting and helping out that thyroid and parathyroid. Once you get your parathyroxine and your parathyromone and converting that over to the vitamin D3, you'll start seeing your mood get better, because tryptophan is going to be in production. And when tryptophan, which is melanin amino acids produced, and as you start seeing it in that thyroid, then you start getting your oxytocin hormone and your dopamines, and these are your happy hormones. Oxytocin and dopamines is your happy hormones, and that's what you're chasing. We're just chasing synthetic dopamines, through dope or crack cocaine and sugar cane, alcohol, through penis and vagina, anything to get that dopamine. Anything to get us on that dope. Dope is just not crack and cocaine, y'all. Dope can be anything that you're addicted to make you feel better, to give you a state of euphoria. And we just using the wrong chemical substance. And they know that. So they putting these things in our foods. And that's why scientists is over the food industry now. Notice, if this is not chemical warfare, then why do every major billionaire food industrial company have their own labs of scientists? What are y'all fucking with in our food? Huh? What are y'all trying to do? They fucking with our mindset. You see that? They're making us chemically addicted to the food. They're making us chase the salt and potassium and water and fat ratio and sugar ratio of these foods, because it produces a different type of psychological entity within our mental processes, y'all. All right, baboon. All right, depressed. It says several ear infections and throat infections. Again, bacteria again. So that means you have a lot of acids in your ears and a lot of acids in your throat. This is going to mean that your tonsils is not working properly, and you have a lot of different acids inside your sinus cavities. So we're going to have to cleanse the glymphatic system. The only way to cleanse the glymphatic system is by cleansing the transverse colon. So you have to get our GI super mover, or you can get you your own herb, which is some Cascara Grande, some gelatine root, and stuff like that, ginseng, ginger, anything that's going to really, really blow out. Kalawala is very good. Pavana is very good. The slippery ambark is very, very good for you. Turkey rhubarb is very good for you. And these things is going to go and aid and start cleansing and retoning the actual GI tract. Whether I'm talking about the transverse colon down to the small intestinal colon, and that's what you need to really cleanse, because until you drain that transverse colon, all that pressure is going to be backed up from the colon all the way to the brain. You see that? And then that's the only way you can start really, really draining cerebrospinal fluid. The spinal fluid is what cleanses the glymphatic system. But you cannot cleanse the spinal fluid if all the other pipelines is backed up in the body. You backed up interstitially for miles and miles at a time. So you got to start cleansing out all these septic tanks, like we call lymph nodes, and your gut and stuff like that. And lymphatic associated tissues got to be drained first for you to be able to drain the brain. And you won't have the ear, infections, and you won't have the throat infections and all these other infections that's up in your ceph. That's where you get cephalitis from. That's seti. All this is head up, ceph. You know what I'm saying? Or set. Or ceph. Remember, all your body's names is after Greek associated parts. That's why you got the Achilles heel. You got the Adam's apple. All these are associated with Greek mythology. You got the triceps, the biceps. All this is talking about Hercules and all the stories that he went through. You see that? You have the air arteries. That's where arteries come from. It's come from Airbender, the god of Ares, or the god of the air, where you get arteries from. And it just means the tubes that flow something. I mean, whenever you start really getting into, you know, the allopathic community and all these names that's associated with everything, that the femur bone, I mean, all this stuff is named after Greek mythologies and Greek gods. Period. Period. All right, so bacteria, 7 years. Okay, that's how you're going to get rid of that. Okay, cyst on the ovaries and endometriosis. Again, I have a lot of stuff on endometriosis, and I have a lot of stuff when it's straight talking about, you know, your body and your ovaries produces something called the corpus luteum every month. I talk about this a whole lot. If you want to learn how to heal from the corpus luteus, I suggest that you go back to my video that I just did on that, because I mean, that's an hour video in itself to really explain it. But again, this is acids associated tissues. You're producing too much estrogen, estrogen, and progesterone and pregnenolone. Your body and your chemistry is imbalanced, and the reason why it's imbalanced is because all the glandular highway, or what we're going to call the endocrine system, is actually being compromised by acids and acidosis. You ready to rock? Okay. Look, so we got so much more to go through, y'all. But I got to get to this house, and we got to start this healing case. So I'm going to go live later on tonight, and we'll finish this off. I'm going to name this part 1, and then we'll finish the rest of it off in part 2. So if y'all can remember, I left off on cysts and endometriosis. We'll pick up on cysts and endometriosis, and we'll go through the fibroids. We'll go through the Crohn's disease, the malnutrition, the anemia, the low blood count. We'll go the vomiting, the diarrhea, the UTIs. It's so much in this case. We ain't going to be able to get through it in one case. Again, I'm in LA, so we out here doing a healing case. So I'm gonna try to reach the rest of y'all with this one tonight. All right, with that being said, peace, love, light, and living, and healing. I love y'all. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth. All the money that y'all have sent to this page will actually go towards her healing package. That's what we're gonna do for this one. Any money y'all ever send me through this will always go through somebody else's healing package, but everything that I have received from y'all today is gonna go towards her healing package. And we are gonna help you out, Queen, and I'll finish answering this question later on today. All right, peace, peace, family. Align.
I hope my children see in me a fighter, a person who's going to step up.
All realities simultaneously at any and every time. If I tap into the higher frequency, the express lane, the HOV lane, right, of where that particular light spectrum is traveling, but the density that you get, now we're dealing